The music world is reeling from shocking news involving one of its biggest stars. Rapper Rod Wave, known for his soulful voice and introspective lyrics, is now facing a mountain of legal trouble. This isn't just a minor infraction. We're talking about serious felony charges. His real name is Rodarius Green, and at just 26 years old, he finds himself entangled in a complex and potentially devastating legal battle. The incident unfolded at his home in the affluent Milton, Georgia area. What started as a reported domestic disturbance quickly escalated into something far more serious. The situation involves allegations of a burglary and a subsequent police investigation that unearthed disturbing findings. The sheer number of charges is staggering, totaling a remarkable 14 counts. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. These are grave accusations that could have significant consequences for the young artist's future. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The initial events that triggered this legal storm occurred on April 21st. Authorities were first alerted to the situation by a 911 call. The nature of that call was concerning, reporting what was described as a possible domestic disturbance. The source of the 911 report was a neighbor who witnessed a distressing scene. They reported seeing a woman crying and hearing yelling and screaming emanating from the property. This initial report painted a picture of turmoil and conflict within the home. However, as the investigation progressed, the incident was later classified differently. It evolved from a simple domestic disturbance report into something far more complex, ultimately being labeled as a burglary at the residence. This reclassification hints at the unfolding layers of this case. Interestingly, in the initial police report filed on that day, the rapper himself was not listed as a suspect. This detail raises questions about the timeline and how the focus of the investigation shifted so dramatically in the weeks that followed. It suggests the initial response didn't immediately pinpoint him as the perpetrator. Weeks after the initial incident, the situation took a dramatic turn. On May 20th, Rod Wave voluntarily surrendered to authorities. This wasn't a sudden arrest, it was a planned surrender. He turned himself in at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. This action was taken because warrants had been obtained for his arrest based on the ongoing investigation into the April 21st events. The evidence gathered after the initial report led law enforcement to seek his apprehension. Following his surrender, Rod Wave was processed and subsequently released on bond. While he is currently free, the legal cloud hanging over him is immense. The list of accusations is extensive and severe. He is facing a total of 14 counts. This multitude of charges underscores the seriousness with which prosecutors are pursuing this case. Each count represents a distinct alleged violation of the law, painting a grim picture of the events that transpired. The specific charges are deeply troubling and cover a wide range of alleged criminal activity. They include aggravated assault, a felony charge indicating serious harm or the threat of serious harm. There is also a charge of conspiracy to commit a felony, suggesting alleged planning or involvement with others in criminal acts. He is also charged with pointing or aiming a gun or pistol, a dangerous and potentially life-threatening action. Simple assault is also listed, a less severe but still significant charge. The list continues with multiple counts of reckless conduct, indicating behavior that allegedly disregarded the safety of others. Further charges include criminal damage to property, with 2 counts suggesting significant destruction occurred. There are also 2 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, alleging he actively hindered the police investigation. Perhaps most damning are the 2 counts of tampering with evidence, suggesting an alleged attempt to conceal or alter crucial information related to the incident. Finally, he faces 2 counts of possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. These charges are particularly serious as they enhance the penalties for the underlying felonies if proven. The sheer volume and nature of these charges paint a picture of chaos and alleged criminal intent. When officers arrived at the scene on April 21st, their investigation began to uncover disturbing evidence. The findings at the home suggested potential violence, and significant property damage had occurred. This wasn't just a verbal dispute. The physical evidence pointed to a more volatile situation. Among the first things officers observed was damage to vehicles on the property. A gold Mercedes SUV was found with multiple bullet holes, a clear indication that firearms were discharged. This detail immediately elevates the seriousness of the incident. Adding to the scene of destruction, a black Rolls-Royce vehicle was also found with a single bullet hole. The presence of bullet damage on two luxury vehicles suggests a chaotic and potentially dangerous environment during the incident. It raises questions about who was shooting and why. Authorities were also told a story of a burglary. The rapper's girlfriend reportedly informed officers that she returned to the home to find it appeared burglarized. This narrative introduces another layer of complexity, suggesting the incident might have involved external parties or a staged event. Evidence collected by officers at the scene included a black handgun. The discovery of a firearm directly links back to the bullet damage found on the vehicles and the charges related to weapons possession and use. A broken window was also noted, consistent with either forced entry or damage during a struggle. Further investigation of the property revealed a hammer found in a bush next to the swimming pool. The presence of this tool in an unusual location could be significant, potentially linked to property damage or other aspects of the alleged incident. It's another piece of the puzzle investigators are trying to fit together. In the basement of the home, officers made another notable discovery: a large safe. The condition of the safe indicated it had been moved. It had been dragged across the floor. This suggests someone attempted to move or access it. Most importantly, the safe was found opened and emptied. This detail aligns with the girlfriend's report of a potential burglary. However, in the context of the other evidence, the domestic disturbance call, the gunfire, the tampering charges, it also raises questions about who opened the safe and what was inside. Was it genuinely burglarized, or was this part of the alleged tampering? In the face of these numerous and serious charges, Rod Wave has enlisted a prominent legal defender. His lawyer has been identified as Drew Findling, a well-known attorney often representing high-profile clients. Findling is known for his aggressive defense strategies. Findling's stance on the charges is unequivocally defiant. He has vehemently denied the allegations against his client. This strong denial sets the stage for a potentially contentious legal battle. In a public statement, Findling asserted, "There is no truth to these charges." This is a powerful declaration, directly challenging the foundation of the prosecution's case. It suggests the defense believes the charges are baseless or fabricated. Findling's defense centers on a counter-narrative to the prosecution's claims. He has publicly stated that his client, Rod Green, was actually a victim of a burglary. This flips the script entirely, portraying the rapper not as a perpetrator, but as someone who suffered a crime. According to Findling, Rod Green committed no crimes during the incident. This assertion directly contradicts the 14 charges filed against him. The defense will likely argue that any actions taken by Rod Wave were either in response to being burglarized or are being misinterpreted by the authorities. Findling has gone further, describing the filing of these charges as incomprehensible. This strong language suggests the defense believes the prosecution's case is illogical or lacks sufficient evidence to warrant such serious accusations. It frames the charges as an overreach or a misunderstanding of the events. Despite the gravity of the situation, Findling has expressed strong confidence in the eventual outcome. He has stated that the case will absolutely be resolved favorably to Mr. Green. This level of certainty from his legal counsel suggests they believe they have a strong defense or evidence that will exonerate him. The defense will likely focus on discrediting the evidence presented by the prosecution, perhaps arguing the burglary was real and the subsequent findings are being misconstrued. They may challenge the source of the 911 call or the timeline of events. The tampering charges will be particularly difficult to defend against if evidence exists, but Findling's confidence suggests they have a strategy. This legal battle is shaping up to be a significant test for both the prosecution and the defense. The outcome could have profound implications for Rod Wave's career and personal life. The defense's narrative of victimhood stands in stark contrast to the state's portrayal of him as a perpetrator of multiple serious crimes. This is not the first time Rod Wave has faced legal scrutiny. While his public image is often associated with emotional music, his past includes brushes with the law. It's important to look at his history to understand the full context of his current situation. Previous legal trouble mentioned in reports includes a charge of domestic battery back in 2020. This earlier incident involved similar allegations of interpersonal conflict, though the details differ from the current case. It shows a pattern of legal issues emerging from personal relationships. However, the outcome of that 2020 charge is also noteworthy. The case was ultimately dismissed in 2022. This dismissal means the charges were dropped and did not result in a conviction. The reason for the dismissal was that the case was later deemed not suitable for prosecution. This could mean various things. Perhaps evidence was insufficient, the alleged victim became uncooperative, or other factors led prosecutors to believe they could not secure a conviction. It raises questions about the strength of the initial allegations. Details from the 2020 arrest warrant provide some insight into the nature of that previous accusation. The charge stemmed from an accusation made by an ex-girlfriend. This indicates a history of conflict within past relationships leading to legal involvement. The alleged location of the 2020 incident was her home in the Orlando area. This places the previous legal issue in a different state than the current Georgia charges. The alleged action in that case was particularly disturbing. She accused him of choking her. The warrant also noted the presence of children during the alleged 2020 incident. Their 2 children were reportedly in another room at the time. This detail adds a layer of sensitivity and seriousness to the previous domestic battery accusation. The alleged motive behind the 2020 incident was also detailed in the warrant. The rapper allegedly accused her of seeing other men while they were broken up. This suggests the incident may have been fueled by jealousy or anger related to their relationship status. While the 2020 case was dismissed, its existence provides a backdrop to the current charges. It shows a history of allegations involving domestic disputes and conflict within relationships. Whether this history is relevant to the current charges will be a point of contention, but it adds another dimension to the public perception of the artist and his legal struggles. The sheer number and severity of the current charges, however, represent a significant escalation from his previous legal issues.